Hey Phoenix fam, what's poppin'? Today we're going to talk about plate carrier setups. The idea is about why are we actually wearing a plate carrier in Airsoft and how to get started with your very own cool looking, very efficient plate carrier setup. I want to show you what is actually possible and how parts can work together to make you more efficient on the actual Airsoft battlefield. So let's get started, here we go. Why are we actually wearing plate carriers in Airsoft? In real life, they of course protect your inner vitals, like your lungs and your heart. Translated to Airsoft, they can still apply a little bit of a decent protection. For example, nipple shots, and I am very concerned about these. First of all, a plate carrier gives you a mounting option to have magazines for your airsoft gun with you. This is, I would say, the main idea behind running a plate carrier in Airsoft. Of course, it also allows you to have a lot of other accessories with you, for example, radios and all different kinds of items. But in conclusion, it's gonna make you look cool. And this is what we all care about here in the Airsoft Happy Zone, is to look cool on the Airsoft game field. And so guys, this is my old JPC setup. It's actually an Emerson JPC repro I got from e-bike very back in the days. This is my first plate carrier I ever purchased. Cost me $50 if I remember correctly, and it still holds up perfectly until today. So I'm still happy with this, but I wanted to try something different with this one. If you want to know more about this budget setup I built right here, I have a whole old video about this, but I changed a couple of things. So let me run through it real quickly. For example, I mounted these elastic triple M4 magazine pouches in front of the kangaroo pouches right here. So it gives me a very slim platform to pack a lot of magazines. Also, I added the GMR Green Mountain Rangers Kydex insert into the kangaroo pouch, so the magazines come out really easily and they really snap into place. They don't come undone by themselves. Also, I added these elastic cummerbunds. Usually there's a radio right here, or magazines or other stuff. It really fits a lot of stuff. Really nice little addition to this overall super budget plate carrier, I would say. This is not much and super easy to actually build. On the back, I'm running a Repro Minimap, a backpack basically, to have like an air tank in here or various items, BBs, snacks, some water, whatever you may want on the Airsoft battlefield. Currently, my buddy is running this all the time. He doesn't have gear, so I supply it to him and he's really happy about it. Other than that, you can see all the in-depth stuff in the old video, like what's the shoulder pads, how do I attach the radio communication and so on. You could see that in the old video. Now from my old Repro budget setup to my new real steel setup. This is my Crye Precision JPC 2.0 in size M in Multicam. I made some special adjustments and I configured it exactly how I wanted it to be to run actually dual comms. So that was my initial idea and I built everything accordingly. The vest is super lightweight and very slim. This is exactly what I want because I'm also a very skinny, tall dude and these kind of really fit. It doesn't really look good if you have like a giant plate carrier onto you, if you're actually kind of bony like I am. I wanted to keep things really slim in the front because I didn't want to have a big Bauchladen, a Hawker's tray in front of me of all different kinds of magazine that just sit in front of me, and if I have to lay down on my belly, I'm elevated really high up off the floor. I wanted to keep it really slim in the front so I can go really down and dirty into the mud. I wanted to keep it all as necessary as possible, but still getting some epic style points on the way. This build is kind of inspired by my good friend Defcon 5 Hunter and by the Polish special forces called GROM. They have been seen to run this magazine configuration like this. I really like this loadout and how slim it is and how the things work together on my body itself. Before we get started with all the different kinds of nipsy-napsy what I have on here, one thing first, and it's so important to actually size your plate carrier correctly. It is important, guys. They shouldn't right down here. They have to be up here, right where your collarbone is, where this little dimple here is, this is where your front plate should actually start and go down. Same goes to the back. I see it way too often that they run way too low on the back. Me included. It really shows that your plate carrier is not fitted correctly. They should be on usually the same height on the front and on the back. If you have problems that the back is running too low all the time, I have a really good tip coming up for that later in this video. So guys, strap your plate carrier down. Don't let it flop around and fly around and sag around. Not that it's super uncomfortable to wear. You should still breathe, and when you breathe in really, really hard, it should be quite snug onto your breast actually, but it shouldn't be uncomfortable, obviously. What helps immensely with this is to run actual plates. I don't run plates, I run something different. So you can go the real route where you put real SAPI plates in here that you protect you from real bullets. But in Germany, that's actually really hard to get and really expensive. So I go with the repro route because it looks really horrible if there's no plates in the plate carrier. And sometimes you see people on the field doing that, and also in movies or series you can see. And then you can tell they're not really paying attention to the detail, because sizing and fitting these really helps with plates in them. Make your own, super easy, from some EVA foam or some cardboard where you cut out the actual shape a couple of times, like this thick, 4 or 5 layers, and then tape it together with some duct tape and you're done. You push it in there and it gives you some stability from within the plate carrier. It feels quite nice if it's a little bit snug and you feel obviously protected of those nasty nipple shots. So take this guide to get inspired and work on your very own plate carrier setup. In total, I have 8 M4 magazines on my body when I go out and play airsoft, and 5 of these are actually on my actual plate carrier, here in the front and on the side. For that, I'm using the flap that actually came with the JPC 2.0. It is a little flap that allows to put some M4 magazines in the front and then be secured with some elastics on the outside and also on the inside. So it's a little flap. You can change it if you want to a different setup where the magazines, for example, are covered or something, but for me, this works the best and I really like the look. I'm not using the Kydex insert like on my other setup because I didn't want to cut the bungees that are actually separating inside of here the magazines, because if I ever wanted to go back, I needed to replace this little flappy and I didn't really want to do it. Then in front I have these plastic M4 magazine holder. They snug onto the magazines really tightly. These are also inspired by the Polish Special Forces Grom. Another one of these plastic magazine holders I have here on the left side of my cummerbund. This actually holds my, let's say it, emergency M4 mag. I usually use this magazine as the last resort when all of my other magazines are empty. I know I have one last here. And this one is coming undone actually. What else do I have here in the front? Just with some rubber band, I secured a Milsim West tourniquet on here. This is only for looks because in Germany we don't really play with fake tourniquets or something. We usually have a little bandage you go around your arm and that's it. I really like the look, of course. And then right next to it I have my Elite Force little death rag. If I'm hit, I can just pull that down, or I can even attach this to my helmet if I want to, because there's Velcro here to signal to the enemy players that I'm actually hit and out of the game. Coming to the right side of my JPC skeleton cummerbund, I run the Green Mountain Rangers 40mm elastic bandoliers. These usually hold 40mm shower grenades, for example, or the tag-in shells that shoot really, really far and explode, and they're so much fun. I don't really often use my 40mm grenade launcher. I have my infamous peen gun sitting up front in here. Ends up quite in a nice position that if I want to get it, I am ready for this awesome glory kills. Here on both sides, I actually run 2 little radio pouches that attach to the Velcro of the front plate. And these are Emerson radio pouches. I highlighted those in my top 10 list of the best AliExpress items finds for airsoft. These hold my Baofeng's UV5Rs radios. Keeps your radio right where you need them if you want to change something, so you don't have to ask your buddy because your radio is on your back. The 2 radios that are in here are connected with JCI-Com's adapters to my real steel U94 push-to-talks that I have right here that actually clamp onto my plate carrier with a little clamp but I also double secured them with some rubber band. I run these extended blade antennas now for extended range and style points. I also found them on AliExpress. If you want to know more about my entire comm setup, how I run this, what is each part exactly, and how do I connect it to my actual headset I have on my helmet, I have a whole communication setup video on my channel. Just go back or click in the top right corner. Now, on my back of my plate carrier, I run the infamous Green Mountain Rangers Minimap in Tropentarn. Tropentarn is the German 3-color desert tan, and I love this thing. It attaches through a Velcro back panel to the actual plate carrier and is secured with some little buttons. So if I want to, I can actually remove it. I have to undo these little buttons here, and then I can just rip off the entire thing. Doesn't work really now because the bandolier is actually attached to the Minimap with some clamps in the back with this little bungee, and attaches on the front flap with some Velcro, so it wouldn't come off completely. But yeah, you have a little back panel here. You molly mount on the back side of your plate carrier, and then you can attach the little Minimap to it. For example, this is really helpful if you want to run your Minimap as a normal backpack too. The Minimap actually holds in its main compartment usually my HPA tank for my Bolt Mark 18 HPA with the Wolverine Inferno Gen 2 engine inside. So I have my, basically my air compartment in here. I secure usually the tank inside of here with some little Velcro strips, so it's hold in place very much in the center of the pack and it doesn't flobble wobble around, because on the inside here is all Velcro, and yeah, that makes it really easy to attach and detach stuff, which is really nice. When I close this and the HPA tank is inside, the regulator usually pops out a little bit, but that's totally okay with me. It also gives free roaming for the HPA line that I usually run on my right side, either through the little bandolier hoop here or through, I weave it through the skeleton cummerbund to end up basically on the right side underneath my rifle, so it doesn't snag or hook onto like a tree branch or something. But if you're building your plate carrier setup, make sure to consider what you put on your back, because with the HPA tank inside of here, I can't really go inside of vehicles and sit down naturally because I have this giant tank pushing into my back. It's really uncomfortable. If this is empty, this is super slim, as you can see. It can hold some water, some snacks. I really love this tiny little setup. It has a little insert here, and I have a Kydex insert for actually 2 magazines for me or my buddies on my back. If a buddy says, hey, I need a magazine, I'm empty, blah, 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 I can just say, yeah, here, grab one. It's right on my back. Or if I am completely empty, I can ask a teammate to, hey, can you hand me a magazine from my back? I know there's some backup stuff right there. Here's a little zipper compartment. I have, let's see, a little carabiner, some ibuprofen right here, battery for my red dot, a rubber band, a carabiner, a CO2 cylinder for all those guys who play CO2 pistols, and I have an Allen key in there that fits my regulator, which is basically right here. So if I have to go chrono, I always have it with me. I don't have to search for it. I know it's right in here and I can just use it. Then in this little emergency pouch, I actually run still some of the candy that came with the Minimap from Ronin. I have it in here, and some Lucky Charms, some little aliens and other action figures he sent over with the Minimap to me, which is kind of funny, yeah. On the back, I run the GMR clingers. Those are actually elastic loops, basically, that attach also with Velcro on wherever you want them. You can run them in the front as kind of a dangler, for example, or like I do, I run these on the back. And what I have attached here, one of those infamous shitty looking, shitty sounding wish grenades that are actually quite OP if you think about it, because they're reassembled really quickly. I have them sitting right in here. They're a little loud, rattly, but I can ask a buddy when we're about to enter a room, hey, give me this. He hands me, I can throw it in and we go clear the room. This is just a super handy way to attach some grenades or some other stuff. They also hold, for example, Baofengs or other radios. You can find out more about these grenades in my Wish and AliExpress video. Coming to the plates I actually run, in the back I run these PTS foam plates. Those are really comfortable, I like them a lot. But of course you can make your own super easily, you don't have to spend actual money on this. And then in the front I have my super good tip I want to talk to you about from earlier. I run inside of here a hydration plate. There's a plastic compartment in here, a plastic plate, which you can fill up with water and then actually drink. So here's the nozzle attachment you could drink out of, and it's routed all the way around here and inside here. And I have actual water inside of here, and I use this because I want to counter out the weight of my HPA tank on the back. If I have water in here and the pack on with the tank inside, it's quite heavy, but it gives me an equal weight on the front and the back, so it doesn't sag in the back and chokes me in the front. Really good tip to run this, to have this inside. And a super sneaky tip for the very hot summer days: pop this in the freezer overnight before you go out and game. You have an ice plate in your front to cool you down while you game. The actual ice is gonna melt and you have some really nice and cold water to drink on the game field. Here in my admin pouch, I usually run a black Sharpie to take notes, and I have a little notepad in here and some business cards of what someone asked me, yeah, why are you filming? Why are you being so weird? I can give them a business card so they can look up my channel, which you should actually subscribe to, if you know what I mean. Smash that subscribe button, guys. And I have a little frequency chart here, so I know exactly which channel in PMR I have to program into my Baofeng. Then here for looksy looks, I have a little DARPA blast gouge. Yeah, this is just plastic for looks. It's in real life, it detects like blasts that get to you. I'm about thinking ditching this. It's just here for the cool looks, that it's not so empty here. Here I have my super cool new Phoenix feather patch. It's by my buddy avostaya.de, and he did a super cool job laser cutting my feather symbol out of some Multicam black with some red material underneath, and it just looks so freaking dope. I hope you guys like this patch actually. Here I run some emergency scissors, more for looks, and I'm actually thinking about ditching them because I had this situation before where I was like, oh, I have to cut some tape, and I was running around trying to find my multi-tool or my knife, and I had these scissors right in front of me the entire time. Obviously that's a bad sign that you don't know that they're there, so I should actually get rid of them, even though it looks kind of cool from the front on pictures and video. So guys, use this guide as a little bit of a tool to get you started into helping you setting up your preferred plate carrier setup. You can easily go the budget route where you don't buy all the real steel stuff. You don't have to buy real Crye. You can go with an Emerson JPC or any other. As you saw, they work for a very, very long time if you treat them nicely. And if you proceed further and get more and more into it, you can of course upgrade with time. Of course, all the links are down in the description, and there's nothing more to say than smash that subscribe button, guys. The Phoenix fam is really coming together. I love you guys. You're showing me some love, so thanks to each and every one of you. And yeah, that's it. I would say bye. Watch a gameplay or so, or the AliExpress video if you're interested in budget items top list for Airsoft. I have some good tips there as well. Bye.